This is again. Oh, that was the beginning. A couple of things to note again in any opening bows and stuff. You want to have a straight back, heels together. Here, heels are together. Um, Good posture, shoulders back, hands on the side. And when they bow forward, your hands come to the front of your thighs and so on. That's some of the just the basic key points that you want to have. And when they bow to each other, same thing. You can see how the back is very straight. In this case, by um, I think that's Tori's. Your back, yeah. Heels together, hands go to the front, and so on. Okay, synchronization. So again, as much as possible, try to keep everything in sync when you're doing the opening bow. And then they stand up and take the one step forward. Okay, so even stepping forward, you don't try to turn your hips too much. Just pull yourself ahead when you're stepping, like somebody's yanking in the middle of your belt. Try to step forward and make it look natural. At this point, again, their feet are shoulder width apart, and they will take their two steps to come within the 1 meter, or sorry, the 1, 2. At this point here, they're 1 meter each from the tape, the center tape. I don't know if you can see that center tape there,
Yeah.
but they're roughly about a meter each away from that. Now Tori can advance, or sorry, Uke can advance using Tsugiyashi and having a firm Te Katana or hand sword. As they do that, the arm should go up smoothly and not like a digital clock. It doesn't go chunk, chunk, chunk. It should be all smooth, advancing, coming up, coming up. And again, Tsugiyashi by Uke here with the feet and the hand slowly rising. The target, of course, is the uto between the eye area there. And for Tori, you're going to do just a tai sabaki. But one of the common mistakes is Tori starts to take her right hand and starts to reach for this Uke's hand prematurely. You know that the target area is going to be the uto. So as a Tori, when you turn, you should just take your right hand and put it in front of your face because that's where the target will be, right there. So that's where you want to catch it right in front of your face
Mm.
and catch it with your right hand, thumb down in this case. Okay. Now, as there's Taisabaki, but there's also Kazushi by Tori. So Tori's going to actually pull that hand ahead there, and that causes Uke to take further steps ahead. Okay, so there should be a Kazushi element here, and I'll just slow it down a bit there. So there it straightens out, and now she is directly in front of each other. So if you were to take a perpendicular view of this position, they would be all aligned. Their feet would be aligned, their bodies are aligned, and basically you can't see the person behind because it's blocked for the front person, you know.
Mhm.
So in this case here, the right thumb is down by Tori, and the Tori will grab a hold of Uke's left wrist there, and then stretch Uke back. There's the stretch. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're showing this is the vulnerable position by Uke now. So Uke is being stretched backwards, hands are being pulled back, arms are straight. Uke has to show defense or escape. And this is the part that you have to be careful not to do it in synchronization, even though it kind of looks like it's synchronized. Technically, Uke is the one that initiates the defense by escaping. So she's gonna, if you watch her right foot, Uke's right foot, it's gonna turn the heel to the forward direction, and same time her left elbow will bend inwards. So just start that up here. She turns the heel there, going outwards. You could clearly see how the heel turns, right?
Mhm.
And then Uke's left elbow is going to start to bend too. Now, this is where the heel goes out by the person escaping. The toe is going to turn outward by the person that's reacting. So in this case, Tori's toe, the right foot toe, is going to point outward. So here, play it on there. You can see now it's a heel and a toe pointing in the forward direction, and then they bring their feet beside each other, beside their each other's feet. All right. So here the feet come in and they're coming together. But again, all this is there's a slight initiation by one and then the other follows. It's actually not in synchronization. There's a fight, escape reaction, then a reaction by Tori. Okay. By
Mhm.
when you turn, you're gonna do the swing the leg around here, and after the rotation, they're bang, they're straight in alignment with where they were previously. But again, you can't see the person in the back because they're blocked out by the person in the front. That's how precise these teams are. Now, of course, both of these hands are thumb up. The only first time was the thumb down with the right hand by Tori. Hereafter, it's always thumb up. And now we want to see that Tori, who is hidden right now, is going to escape by turning her heel out. So her left heel is going to start to turn outward, and her right arm is going to start to bend in. So again, this is the stretch. This is the reason for Tori to try to escape now because okay, just stretched her back, and Tori is going to escape. So again, she's going to do the heel out, and Tori's okay is going to follow by doing the toe out there. You can see how their feet are now aligned, but one is heel, one is toe. Together and spin around. So again, now they're in the identical position. And again, this time you're going to stretch back there. Now, this is where they don't want to do this all night. So this is where this time Tori's going to block Oki's hand against her side so that she's not able to do the full escape rotation again. So this comes to the side. Meanwhile, Tori's right hand is pulling Oki's arm up straight, and it's right near the head. Here, her right arm is near her head, and her left arm comes right to the side here. Okay, so this is now stopping all that escape action, and this is the finish. So now Tori's going to slide her left hand up to Ukei's left shoulder there, and she's going to step back. Tori's going to step back first with the right foot, then the left foot.
Mhm.
And at this point, stretch her upwards and backwards. Okay, in the old days, we used to really arch the back of but now it's pulling more upwards and backwards. So actually, is very much straight in that she's planked her core, her midsection here, but she is on her weight is on the heel. So that's where there's real actual kazushi here because if Tori was to release, then would fall backwards. In the old days, when you do the back arch, when you had the back arch, uh, was never really off balance, even though it looks like she is, because her middle of her center of balance was still over top of her feet. But in this case here now, Ukei's center of gravity or balance is further back behind her heels. So that's why she's actually off balance. So she submits there. Now, this is where you have to be careful. If she is truly off balance, then Tori has to take a step forward to release the pressure. Okay. So it shouldn't be that Tori, can get the pressure off without Tori actually releasing the pressure. So this is where we need to see the stepping forward of Tori's foot first with the left and then the right. So there are steps forward, one, two. Now Uke can have her balance back and drop her hands down. And that would be the end of that one. Again, you want to be nowadays leaning back, but really keep your body straight. You're going to say, well, if it's straight, are you not on in balance? But
Right.
no, if Tori is actually pulling you backwards and pushing their hand on your left shoulder and pulling the hand backwards but upwards,
Mhm.
then you're gonna feel off balance. Now you also notice that Tori or OK keeps the toes on the mat during that time. Even though her toes are on the ground, she's not vertical. If we had a side view of this, you would see the angle in which OK is leaning back, which
Mhm.
signifies that there's a kazushi there. And then following this, after the release, what you normally see is Tori will just take a step back with her right foot. Okay. And I'll just play that on there. And then Uke has to adjust to Tori. So again, this is where Uke will step behind there. Okay. So right foot of Uke is basically in line with the Tori's left foot. See how close they are as well, because the hand will come up the side of OK and push against the shoulder, the right shoulder blade of Tori. So let's just see that happening. So the hand comes up and starts to push firmly to force Tori to lean forward. Little resistance, but now she relinquishes, and this is where she will bend forward. Tori tries to keep her legs straight during this time, and also, okay, now we'll bend forward as well. Now, because Tori is bending forward, Uke's push, the right hand, will go to the top of Tori's shoulder right there. And this point here, Uke is going to pull Tori backwards. You don't cup the shoulder. That right hand does not cup the shoulder, but actually stays straight. Still pushing the shoulder top with the middle of your palm, but your fingers will be sticking outwards. Okay, that's kind of a key point there. The fingers will be pointing out, or in this case, downward, but they'll be straight. When that push starts to go back, you'll see Tori stepping back again, first with the right foot, yeah, there, and then moving backwards. At this point, you can see where Tori starts to reach for that hand. It's not when Tori was still standing ahead of OK. The right hand of Tori is going to reach as she kind of passes backwards or moves backwards beside and then behind Uke's hand. Okay. So you can see right there that in this case, Tori's hand is actually, I thought, kind of late, but anyway, she's going to grab right there. Okay. So you can see that Tori has moved back and taken control of the base of the fingers of Uke. When I say the base of the fingers, that's where the fingers kind of connect to the hand. Remember, I said that Uke's hands go the fingers will be pointed ahead or straight. I mean, that's the area that you're going to be able to grab. If you were to cup it, then it's harder for Tori to grab it because the hand would be cupped around the shoulder, and there wouldn't be any protrusion by the fingers for Tori to grab. That's why you want to have that push with the straight fingers if you can. Now, Tori has taken hold of that hand with her right hand, and this is where now Uke will turn on her heel and prepare to do a hand strike, to take a Tana strike against Tori's face. So here we back up. You can see that the hand is now cocked near her left hip. So Uke's hand is now turning into the sword, and she turns on the heel. So she really hasn't taken a big step forward yet. Pivoted on the same spot. You can see how close Uke's feet are together there. Now, as she does that, she's going to now take this big stride forward. So the hand, this Tegatana hand of Uke, which is her left hand, and her left foot should be advancing about the same time. In other words, she's going to step forward as she strikes. Okay, so you can see that this hand is now ready to go toward Tori's eyes. And you can see that Tori has already gotten the eye contact. As soon as Uke is turned, they already have eye contact here. Key things to watch out for is Uke's left foot. If you are attacking straight ahead, as this is the case, then you should not see Uke's left foot start to turn. In other words, those toes should be pointed straight toward Tori. What happens is that you anticipate the rotation already. The foot is already turned already toward Shomen. So watch out for that left foot. Okay. Now the strike happens. And again, we don't want to see too much anticipation by Tori's left hand, even though you want to grab Uke's left hand with your left hand. But you have to wait for it to come near your face there. As it comes near your face, then you can go and grab.
Right.
Okay? So this is again grabbing the base of the fingers right there. And you can notice that, okay, it hasn't even turned yet. it's actually Tori that's going to torque or turn the wrists, forcing there. You can see the extension of okay here, body
Mhm.
posture wise, and the rotation.
Right.
Okay,
Holy.
and here again, what we'd like to see is more of a straight upward pull rather than really arch the back. But that's fine because again, you can see how straight her body is in the upper body. They're being pulled up uh, by Tori's action on the wrist. So you're actually torquing or turning those wrists palm upward so that it forces okay up into the air. Again, you put the pressure on. There has to be a submission, which will be okay stepping back with her right foot, no left foot there. Okay, there it is. And before she can put her foot back, Tori has to demonstrate that she's releasing it. It's not okay just taking a quick step back and step forward. You can see that she keeps that foot there, the left foot there,
Mhm.
while and wait until Tori steps forward. Now she can get her balance back by stepping forward with her left foot.
Okay.
The other key point on this one is look at the tape and look where okay ends up. This takes a lot of practice actually, because the next technique you want to be centered basically against that tape, and that takes a lot of practice because otherwise you're going to be screwed up for the next technique because
Right.
you won't be in the right position. So the hands come down here, and then Tori gets to walk around. And again, you can notice watching them move. They're formal hands. They're not robotic in a way, but they're formal. You could always tell that the fingers are together
Mhm.
and formal that way. Okay, now they're again ready to start the next one, the rotidori. So they're equal distance from the tape, and you can sort of see how close they are on these ones here. The feet are not that far apart. So then, okay, we'll first take hold of the wrists and firmly lock them in place. Like make sure that you're firm on the grab. Okay.
Right.
Then Tori's reaction of this is to actually step back with the left foot there. Okay. Same time you notice that the hands flare out. In other words, Tori's wrists become firm, and
Mhm.
that's to make it harder for okay to keep hold. But same time, I want you to focus on how firmly uh, okay is holding with her left hand because as Tori breaks this grip by bringing her hand across. Okay. Oh, sorry. That was the Kazushi pull. Again, I should have added that when the wrists go firm, you're also going to be pulling it back a bit. And that causes the Kazushi in the forward direction. And that's where Uke comes off her heels. You can
Yes.
see the slight elevation, not sprunging up to the tippy toes height, but just enough that you could slide a piece of paper underneath the heels or something, just a
Right.
little bit there to lift up the heels. That's the entry for the Kazushi. So Tori has stepped back and done the firm hand, the firm wrist, and pulled back, and that gets the Kazushi. Now, this is the breaking of the grip. So Tori's going to take her right hand and come across there. Okay. Now, what I was mentioning is that because it's a firm grip, when Tori starts to break that, Uke's hand falls there. Uke's hands fall. So often, what you see is when Tori starts to do that, Uke releases and her hand still remains below her belt. But
Oh
in
yeah.
this case here, you want to show that there was a break of the action. So you can see that okay is not just letting go. She was
Right.
trying to hold on to that wrist. So then that's why the hand comes up as she breaks it. Now this hand will go high over through like a Makakomi type of thing. And she steps across with her right foot and she starts to turn in. Okay. At this point, he can't see it, but her Tori's right hand should be gripping around the Uke's elbow area and
Mhm.
not toward the wrist area. So you can see that there's nothing near the wrist, and it should be near the elbow of Uke. In this case here, now that she's square, they're both square. Um, Uke will lower herself down to get her belt level in the right position. Also, Tori has put her hand on the back, as she should, uh, of Tori. So now this is where you do the sink, but you notice that the sink is done fairly vertically. They're not bending forward. Tori's not bent forward.
Mhm.
So everything is in a nice tight position here. The elbow again is up because her hand is on the elbow area of Uke. Tori's left hand is got a Yahazu or a V grip on the wrist area here,
Mhm.
and she lowered herself down. Now, when she's going to do the lift, she starts to pull forward, lowers, pulls forward, and up. Okay. The hand still stays out, but as she goes higher, this hand will get pulled in. Tori's going to use her left hand to pull the hand of Uke in. So it's in. And again, you see the straight legs of Tori here.
Right.
One thing to consider when you're doing these type of lifts to get the straight legs straight, if you're doing any type of lifting on top of your upper back like this, is to try to push your hip backwards, back away from your toes, as you might be already doing. But what this does is it changes the angle of your hips by pulling it back. Your center of gravity becomes closer to your feet of Tori. If the legs are up and down and Tori was to bend forward, then her center of gravity would be way ahead of her toes, and that's not good for balance. So, in a way, this position of straightening out your legs and pushing your hips back is really one of the fundamentals, I think, when it comes to balance and control, because you got a lot of weight on top of your head area and your shoulder blade area, and so you need to adjust that center of gravity or balance so that it remains still close to your feet, Tori's feet, because
Mhm.
that's her base of support. So the base of support, the center of gravity, all should be in a basic alignment when you're doing these lifts.
Right.
In this case, Japan does what we call a banana. So if you watch Uke go up, she arches her back and she's no longer straight. But Japan is one of the only teams that does this. So I'd like to have the straight back method myself. I
Right.
think that looks better than this banana hook. And at the Kodokan, they try to rationalize and justify that by saying, "Oh, it's Uke's extending as hard as she can, so it's natural for her to do the lift."
Mhm.
But the prior team that won all the golds at the Worlds for years and years, the those ladies always were straight,
Yeah.
and this banana thing was only when I think this team was the one that sort of started, and then they have to rationalize and say, "Yeah, it's good." Again, if you can control the lifts, always have to be up the same speed as coming down. And again, she does that hyperextension at the end, and then submits. There's the tap, and then same speed going up, and you have to take the person down. So you have to be about the same speed. When you're putting it down, it's really up to Tori to maintain her posture on your back.
Mhm.
So she's basically locked in or stuck to your back. Typically, if Tori can control the speed in which coming back down,
Mhm.
Tori is uh, is in control. Like you're the one that's doing the bending forward and bending back. Okay, basically has to hold that same position on top of Tori for the duration if you can. And that's where that other hand, the one that's on the back, you can sort of feel Tori if you're the okay on those ones because you
Right.
can see you can control the tightness or you can control your body position
Mhm.
with that left hand as well. But yeah, it's you try to lock it up as best you can.
Okay.
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 And this is more true of the next technique too, where you want to be one unit when you're moving ahead and moving either direction, up or forward or back. You want to be locked together as best you can. Okay.
Right.
This one's a little tougher, I think, because it's up to Tori to hold that elbow area with her right hand.
Mhm.
And I know sometimes people don't have that flexibility to really get it up that high. Some cases, it's actually the body size differences. You'll get sometimes a shorter arm Tori
Mhm.
against a longer arm okay, and sometimes that distorts things in terms of how you grip. But again, ideally, if you're about the same size, I think that is a lot better if you can do that. Um, Less adjustments you might have to make. Okay, so now we just finished that one, the rotidori. So we're going to do the katamawashi. And again, some of the key points here is that when Tori or Oke does the rotation, it's again with a firm hand. In other words, the palms are being used to do the rotation and not just the fingertips. Because a lot of times you see just the fingertips being used, but here you can see the okay's palm will be firmly on the shoulder there and turning. Okay, as she turns, Tori is going to take basically what I call 6 steps because she's going to be stepping back there with her left foot. Then her Tori's right foot will move across, and then her Tori's left foot will come square. Now they're beside herself there, and now they're facing each other. And Tori is going to start to sweep that okay's right arm with her left hand. So you can see the Yahazu type of opening hands are already starting here. And then she does the kazushi here in combination with that next step, which is to step back with her left foot as she pulls with her left hand. So there's the kazushi and the synchronization of the stepping the left foot back with the left hand pulling back. And this again is the slight elevation of okay. So you can see the heels are slightly elevated there. And now Tori will step in, stepping with her right foot first. So that's step 4. I think it's 4. No, that's 5 because she already stepped back with her left and then step around here. This is where this time, unlike the previous one, you don't get the sync. The level of her body is in the right spot. So you can see as soon as she turned, okay, is placing her hand on that belt area again, but this time there's no dip, there's no sinking down by Tori to be ready to start the throw. Key points in here, as I mentioned, you want to be locked together as best you can. So this is where Ukei's right hand is going to be firm on the elbow of Tori. Tori's already got the left hand on the bicep area of Ukei. Tori's right hand will be high on the shoulder. And the other key point on here is that Tori's right elbow is pointing ahead, straight ahead. It's not like Ippon Seoinage where you're pointing the elbow to the side. It should be pointing straight ahead. What that does, of course, is that it tightens it up against Tori's head. So you become a lot tighter all around here. And it's better controlled this way too. So if you now lift up here, elbows forward, pulling here, locking here, and lock a hand on the back here. Now you can see that okay, it's going to be starting to lift here. And again, at this point, it's up to okay to show off the core, having stiff body here. And again, we want to see that Tori's going to end up with straight legs. So we want to see that hip moving back there. So now her legs are leaning or angled backwards a bit, but her hip is also back. But now her toes and everything still are solid stability wise. Again, as she goes forward, you're going to see, okay, kind of finish it off in this case with a little more banana there. There's a tap. And again, keep everything firm in the upper body, just like you did on the lift, so that everything is firm coming right down. So you can see right there, that's it. But when you let go, you're sort of free, not free falling, but you lost that brace there, right? So you can see that she can do it with her heel down and just do a tap. Depends on your core too, but just try to be solid together. Anything that loosens it up probably is not a good thing. Well, you'll be firm on the hand on top of her shoulder, elbow in. You're gonna feel that arm being firm against your head, basically. Try that with your elbow sticking out like a ippon seoi. I find that that's a lot looser. So if you bring your elbow forward, it just sort of tightens up everything around your head area. Experiment with it. Again, you might find other things that might work for you. Everybody's a little different, I think, and you have to experiment and see what feels best for you. So for Ago, she will step forward 2 steps, 1, 2, and turn. So this is where she should be still pretty well in line with the center of okay. Sometimes when people turn, they step forward, you know, away from the showman. And when you do that, it makes it a little more where okay has to change the angle. She has to go angle across a bit to get the jaw. Step 1, 2, and turn with your left foot, then you should be in the roughly the right spot. Same with Tsukidayashi, you're just advancing Sugiyashi with the hand. Take a katana, moving your head. 1, 2, and this time, of course, the jaw is the target, right? This time, unlike the kata oshi, you don't have to worry about catching the base of the fingers because Uke's hand is already open, so the palm is fully exposed there. Here, Tori's going to grab Uke's palm with the thumb and also do the tai sabaki. Okay, so this is where, as she does the tai sabaki away from Uke here, she's going to take hold of the thumb of the palm, right? And now this is where notice the kazushi that's demonstrated by Uke. Okay, so Tori, thumb in the palm, right, and with her right hand, and with that right hand, she's gonna pull ahead to create kazushi here, there. See that? So there's the kazushi causing Uke to lean further ahead. Now Tori is going to step ahead with her right foot there. As soon as she turns, you can see that Uke is ready to do the hand thrust. So her left hand is by her hip again, step ahead. So as soon as they turn, they always have eye contact right away, right? And now, again, similar to the any take katana, you want to step and thrust at the same time. It's not hand and then foot or foot and then hand. Try to do it at the same time. Again, notice the point of the foot. It's in the forward direction, not anticipating any rotation yet. And then there, as the hand comes closer to the eyes, there, that's where Tori is going to grab for the Tegatana and convert it into control by putting her right thumb into Uke's left palm. So here, she takes a hold, and then now the rotation, because there's basically like a wrist lock going on with Tori's right hand here. So that's causing Uke to start to rotate. You notice her foot is still ahead, but during the rotation, there now her feet are pointing away. And again, this time there is more of an arch. All right, more leaning back. And this time the hands are fully extended by Tori, fully extended upwards. But then Tori pulls it down toward Uke's shoulder back there. And so you can see on this one, there is an arch. This is, again, very uncomfortable for Uke. And at best, she's going to submit by just stepping back again. So we'll just have her do that. And then Tori has to step forward as she releases the pressure. And now they put their hands down. So again, they're all in unison here. The feet are nicely aligned. The bodies are nicely aligned. And that's the end of the first set. Because Tori stepped back with her right foot. So that pushed everything off those tracks, I call railroad tracks in the center, right? And at that point onwards. So you're still misaligned right now. And it's only when you return for the next set that you come back onto the tracks. So this is where they now are misaligned. And again, as I mentioned, ideally you want to end up there is just off the center tape. It's misaligned. And from there point onwards, they're misaligned. They step around, do the throw, lift one, put that one down, do the next one, do the lift, put that one down, take you 2 steps forward. So they're always misaligned at this point. When you're talking about the 2 meter, this is where her right foot is. Tori's right foot is actually at the line there. That's the 1 meter away from the tape. It looks like, yeah. But I wouldn't worry about that so much as just where you naturally end up.
Okay.
So when she's actually back at the bowing tape, it looks like, right? Again, that's where they end up. Now, when they step forward, yeah, she's kind of here on her tape. What they've done is walk naturally. Whatever feels comfortable. Now, again, the only one that and you said you've been practicing is that kataoshi, where you end up around this tape. Uke ends up in the right spot so that the next 2 techniques are done from the same spot here on the tape. Well, that's the only one that I would worry about more.
Okay.
When they walk back for the kiriyoshi, they are now back in their proper tracks and spacing from the center tape. Walked at an angle, so they turn around in the right spot here. Okay, so after she turns, her hand is already palm forward here or palm ahead, and she's gonna raise that hand up. So right now they're off the tracks, staggered a bit. So when you watch walk backwards, back to the spot, she's already angled herself so that when she turns here, she's facing Tori, but she's also in the right spot in terms of the tape. You want to face each other before you open the door, type of thing. Face each other, and you're on the tracks. You're on the right track. Now, once you've done your face-to-face appearance, then we'll take that step back and rotate 90 degrees.
Okay.
There. Then she'll do the hand coming up and reach it high to her head. And then when she turns, the blade will be forward. And then when she steps, she's going to be stepping formally, like trying to cut the top of the head. But make sure that it continues on, because what Tori should try to time is that when she steps back and then takes a hold and steps forward, that should be like a wave coming in and a wave coming out type of thing. So steps forward here. Tori should step back, but the hand is still coming down. Now she's stepping forward. So that's sort of the wave coming in and out here. Once you reach the top, you're already thinking, I'm going to be stepping ahead to cut. Moving ahead now, Tori should move ahead with her balance. In other words, her center of gravity, she shouldn't be leaning forward when she pushes. She should also move ahead with her posture over top of the center of her base of support, her feet. Now, the other thing is that Tori does not step back with her right foot until Tori has made it uncomfortable for her. In other words, her hand's going to get pulled back. Her right hand is going to get pulled back. And she hasn't moved yet because it's not uncomfortable yet. But now it's getting to the point where, we'll have to step back with her right foot to maintain balance. So that's the timing that you want to have. It's not automatic that is going to step back with her right foot.
Okay.
Now there'll be a little bit of off balancing here. So then Tori is going to take her left hand onto the elbow of Tori and spin her around. And Tori will try to pivot on her left heel. Okay, right. So pivot there, come around, and face. Now, the thing to notice on this team particularly is the Tori's eyes. They are always looking ahead as she does this, looking ahead here. Kazushi demonstrated with the elbow, bending the elbow of Tori, leaning forward. So she's not totally off balance, but she is off balance because you can see that she's tipped over onto her left side here. Okay, there's the Kazushi. There's the thumb reaching in. You notice the eyes are still ahead. She's going to break and step behind with her left foot, spin around to the backside, and reach the point where she could stretch back. So this hand is, Tori's right hand is pushing against the left shoulder of and Oke's left hand and arm are being extended again upwards and backwards.
Right.
Okay, and then demonstrate the control. There's the submission. In this case, it's okay to lift up the arm because your right arm is a clear tap. And again, to release, Tori has to step forward and release here. The next action will be done by getting out of the way. So she will step back, and then Tori will step in front. So generally, you're going to see Tori on the, in this case, the right side of the tape when she steps across. Okay, so this will be the position for the row kata. Again, formal hands. Distance is pretty good because, again, the palms of Oke's hands should be on top of the shoulders and not just the fingertips. Firmly, fully up, firmly down. So if the spacing wasn't quite right, you might have too much hand or too low hand. So you could clearly see the palms are going to be pressing Tori downwards. As that happens, Tori's going to step back first with her left foot, rotating. So going down left foot, right foot, turn. And this point here, she's going to be reaching for the wrist with the hazard grip. Tori's going to be grabbing Okay's right wrist there. Okay, then Tori will step back there and then step across with the right foot again and turn. And as she does that, you see how she's changing the grip of the wrist. Okay, and at that point, that's when there was a kazushi. So then Okay took one step forward with her right foot. Okay, after the rotation, she's going to end up Tori's wrist grip will be with the left hand closest to the palm and the right hand behind the her left hand. You want to have a little separation. Sometimes you see the hands on top of each other. I would go for the separation of the hands. The right hand will be slightly behind it. You also want to notice how low the hips are to the heel. So when the kazushi and the movement starts here, that's where Okay's left hand will go on the hip there. Okay, and this is where they say the rising of Tori should be like the keel of a ship. So you're going to move ahead, and as you move ahead, you're going to rise to the upper point here. So as they move ahead here, you notice that Tori will maintain the wrist grip in front of her head and not let it lag behind. Sometimes you'll see the Tori's hands end up behind her head. So keep that firm pull there. Starting to rise. And they move ahead and reach the maximum here, there. So again, you can see that Tori always kept that hand pulling ahead. So in this case, it ends up on top of her head and not behind her head. And Okay is blocked with their left palm on the hip of Tori. To deflect that, Tori is first going to turn her hips to her left, there. And this slips off, and then she will step back with her right foot, one step behind with her left, and then sweep across the chest with her left arm. Try to keep that arm stretched high against your head, back of your head there. Okay, we'll be uncomfortably lean back. Generally, you start off slowly and sort of accelerate as you go up. Once you reach your maximum height, that's basically the end. I wouldn't worry too much about the how many steps, as long as it looks smooth. And in this case here, they're I think they're near that bowing taper. And then we'll have the submission. Yeah, there it is. And then the release.
Okay.
And then they move back.
Start with.
Okay, so just go back with the speed here. Okay, so similar to the first Kiriyoshi, you just come back to your starting positions and face each other. In this case, generally you want to be a little bit closer, but depends on your arm length and so on, because this is going to be a slash across the uto.
Anameuchi.
Yeah, slanting strike. And again, this should be heading for the uto and not the temple, the kazumi. Yeah, between the eyes. If you do Goshin, you'll think, oh, that's not right, but yeah, Uto here. Avoid. So this is Tori avoiding and sweeping the arm.
No step.
And now, this is the one that I always have fun with, because so often Ukei's strike is not to the eyes of, or Tori's strike is not to the eyes of Ukei. Should be. So you can surprise your partner quite a bit by aiming for those eyes, because you're going to catch them in the eyes usually. They're not anticipating that. They're thinking, well, you're going to miss on purpose. But really, you want to have the accurate strike so that you create the reason for the taisabaki here. It has to have a full taisabaki. And again, this is where you're going to have the kazushi. So this hand will be pulled by Okei in the forward direction. There's the kazushi, so that makes it uncomfortable for Tori. So that she has to step forward to get her center of gravity over the top of her base of support again. So there she steps. That's why she has to step. So now her posture is back, her balance is back, and she's able to control the wrist area. Now, okay, we'll do the turn of the elbow again. And then this time, okay, or Tori will step beside to do the uranage. Okay, one of the key things they say is that you have to show that Tori is pulling okay in. So that right hand that's around the hip has to show that it's being pulling okay in there. And then you can do the lift. Okay, Japan's the only team that I know of that Tori actually sticks her fingers behind a knot. Again, I think Japan's the only team that does that. So again, this is nice, straightforward, firm body and pose position. Of course, looks really nice that way. Really have to focus more on your right hand, the one that's around the hip, and really try to stick it on top of your body. Okay, and then let the body do the lifting from there. Because I can see if your left hand will slide because you're actually you're not compressing that left hand in the right direction in a sense, right? Because you really want to stick the person onto your body. Logic would say, well, you're better off grabbing your own wrist and bear hugging the person onto your chest than having your hands separated like that. The hand separation is a requirement. I wouldn't bear hug the person. All right. Clap. And we'll put the person back down. And just turn side to side. All right. And again, on these ones here, you should do it without turning your head and looking for the wrist. You should just be able to know that the wrist is there when you grab. So grab, you see the push down, and so that's to try to show that there's a tight grip on it. And now Tori will have to break that grip because it's a firm grip by OK. So this is like the Goshin where you use your wrist and break it down the seam of the OK's hand, basically to break that grip. So there. So you're using a firm wrist because then it's hard for OK to keep hanging on with that. Okay. So again, you notice that the stepping is more to the front, or his right foot goes more to the front because once she has taken that step, she doesn't get to really take any extra steps. So now you can see how Tori or OK is doing the hand on the elbow first, okay, and sweeping that around. She's also now her left hand will be pushing the shoulder back and down. Okay. That should cause Tori now to have to sort of lean back. And because her left shoulder has been dipped down. Now this is where it's nicely wrapped around the belt, which is really nice because now because her body is arched backwards, she needs to straighten up her body, and that starts off the throwing technique here. So now her body straightens out, and that pulls uke in. So this is the pulling in part that is the uki goshi, and then the hip comes out, and there's the ogoshi part of it that it transforms into. So you can see that Tori's feet really didn't move. And the only thing that Uke changed is that she got pulled in behind Tori when Tori did the wrap around the belt and pulled in. Uke's left foot is usually the only thing that you'll see move because it moves inwards toward her right foot. And there's the lift. The angle is across the back. It's no longer parallel. If you're parallel, then poor Tori has to use all her muscles and weight to try to keep you from slipping off the side of her hip and back. If Uke was now more diagonal, like this angle, then Tori really doesn't have to do anything because Uke is just planked herself on top of Tori's back. If you do it this way, you can easily hold up Uke, even just with the one hand around the belt or the hip. Because of the angle, you're just resting on top of Uke's back at a diagonal angle, so it's really quite easy actually to keep that position for a long time. Play around with the angle, okay? In my old days, we tried to be parallel. His legs were pointed backwards away from Tori and not to the side. Like you really have to use a lot of muscle that way. And then there's the little tap there. You saw that?
Thing when you let go.
The little belt moved. That was it. Because then that way she keeps her firm palm on the back.
Yeah.
Okay, so again for this katate age, get your distance, face each other, and again in synchronization this time, elevate the right hand, palm up,
So
forward, I mean, and reach the maximum height, and then get yourself. Now, this is where they're both on their tippy toes, and their body is kind of angled forward here. A couple of different trains of thought. Some say you lift up your toes and your arm and everything and be vertical and then tip forward. Another is to say that once your hand goes up and you start to lean your body forward, then your heels will naturally come off the ground because you're leaning forward. Then that's when the heels go up. So in this one here, you can sort of see it was a bit of both in that as the hand comes up here, to lean a bit forward here, and then so it's a fine point, when those heels come off the ground.
mhm.
But again, you want to look identical as you do this. So you can see how much tilt there is. And she's just on the tippy toes, that one. Yeah. And they charge. And the trick is here to time it so that you're not early in Taisabaki. There. You can see that the hands would have made contact, all, like that's how close you want to get
Mhm.
and then do your Tai Sabaki and then have the hand come through. So this is where Tori is anticipating charging and hitting something, but the Tai Sabaki avoided that. So then, okay, we'll just bend forward, palm forward, toe forward. You don't want to really hit. Touching is okay, but to make any pressure contact, Tai Sabaki yourself out there. Now Tori's right hand is on the elbow, like in the top actually, because she was pushing it down. And the left hand, of course, is on the shoulder. Now, okay, we'll want to stand up. So as she does that, Tori's right hand is going to flip around and now have fingers forward or palm upwards now. Okay, and then she's got control of the elbow and control of the elbow. So both hands are on the elbow,
Mhm.
and she will sweep, okay, the other side while keeping her posture vertical. Tori's vertical there. So okay is the one that's swinging there. And then okay, we'll try to straighten out again. And then that's where Tori will pull okay back toward herself there.
Pull back.
And then the hands will change position. So first her left hand goes on top of the shoulder, her right hand goes to the wrist, and she steps back and stretches okay backwards and upwards. So
Okay.
this is the one that you should see a fairly straight body of okay,
Mhm.
and her weight will be on her heels, but her toes will still be on the ground. After the submission, then Tori was going to release by taking the step forward, 1, 2, and then releasing the hands down.
Okay.
Okay. Then they're going to turn to face each other. Okay. Now, Obi Tori, this is where what is okay trying to do is to try to grab the area around the belt. And again, she's going to be stepping forward with her left foot as she does that and reaching first with her right, sorry, should be, yeah, it
I
should be left over right. So the reaction of Tori in this case has to be that Tori is going to avoid by moving her hip back, but at the same time deflecting that hand with her right hand. So
Mhm.
as okay steps forward here, there's going to be that right hand of Tori's going to deflect that wrist, and her hip should have moved back there a little bit there. Now she's pushing that arm across. It's across and downward actually.
Mhm.
Okay, so that forces okay to now to turn her body. Notice that Tori does not move her feet yet. Okay, here she has not moved her feet. Tori is turning okay. So now Tori takes control of Okay's right shoulder with her right hand as she rotates. And then this is where Okay has already stepped and she will take control of the elbow of Tori and pull Okay across. So this is the time when Tori will now take her step across. Pull across there. So she will now turn and similar to the katate, we're going to do the same type of rotation. Dip the shoulder, come around. Again, you can see how Tori's going to sweep Ukei's left arm with her right hand by coming first out, under, and then over.
Okay.
Okay. At this time again, Tori is leaning back, has the wrap around the belt, and they have good elbow to elbow control with each other's elbows there.
Mm-hmm.
And Tori is going to now pull Uke in, like the ukigoshi requirement there. So the slight movement of the foot inwards by Uke, and then the hip comes out, the ogoshi part. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And again, then the lift. The lift will be diagonal across the body,
Yep.
right there. And the legs are nicely straightened. And there's the lift.
Mm.
Okay. So in this case, Tori has probably good flexibility with her hamstrings because she can bend forward quite a ways, I think. Her head is almost down to her knees. And again, the feet are nicely together, and there's the lift here. And then there should be a little tap somewhere. Can't see it, I guess.
Oh yeah. But again, just
And then again down.
yeah.
Then they come back to the tape, starting position. For Mune Oshi, you want to be a little bit closer to the tape than the other time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And again, the push is against the shoulder, the breastplate area there. So when you step into it, or you don't step into it, you push here, and then there's the Yahazu catching of that. But again, Tori does not grip because she maintains a Yahazu, so that's one of the key things. So you also notice that when she pushes through, the hand of the right hand of does not come up very high. Right
Okay.
there. So it's only around the head area. Okay. Now, when you watch the next hand, you'll see it much higher.
Okay.
There. So that tends to be a lot higher up,
Mm-hmm.
straighter up, and so on. Okay. So now we have I gotta make sure I got this right. This is Tori on the left side, on the right side. So often the question is who does the next move? Okay. So you can see that we can see clearly this side, which is Tori now trying to grab that wrist. But
Yeah.
what we couldn't see on the other side is that actually, after doing the second push, is taking control of Tori's wrist. On the far side that we can't see,
Mm-hmm.
remember Tori only had a Yahazu grip, a V grip, did not have a clenched wrist grip. So because of the Yahazu, then Uke can actually bring her hand down and grab Tori's left wrist. So think about then, the Yahazu is only done by Tori, and in this case here, Uke would have grabbed Tori's right wrist with a clenched fist, and now she has taken a clenched fist grip on Tori's left hand. In effect, Uke has advantage here. He has grips on both hands. So the answer that we always say who initiates is actually Tori now has to escape. We do this again. We can't see the far side, but there's only a Hazu grip on by Tori left hand, and then this hand it should be a grab, not Yahazu. It looks like a Yahazu there, quite frankly, but it should be a grab. This is where Tori has to escape. So then Tori takes control there, and Tori has to show that that grip of Oke's right hand is going to be broken as well. So this is where now Tori is going to start to step through. You can see that her foot is already turned. After this point, it almost becomes in unison because you got to go back to back on this turn, right? So
Right. Yeah.
as you do this, it becomes sort of like unison now. Okay. But after she comes out of it, okay, now this is where we see that Tori has control of both hands. Right? This hand is controlled and the right wrist is also controlled. So with that control, Tori now demonstrates a splitting of the arms to get forward Kazushi. Okay, so there. You see that is pulled forward by the arms of Tori. Let's do that again. So you come out of the rotation here. Tori has control on both wrists. They go face to face. There's the starting of the pull, and there's the finishing of the pull. Then she will rotate. Okay, so Uke is actually off the heels slightly because there was a slight pull forward. Now, to do the technique, Tori has to change her arm position after doing the hip rotation. So the left hand is pulling down toward her left hip, and the right hand at this point is still high up on the wrist area. She's going to slide that down to the elbow area, palm forward, because she's going to be pushing in that direction as she steps in, of course, with the right foot first. So she's going to step behind. 1, 2, and then just crunch down a little bit there. One thing to avoid if you're okay, especially they'll tell you, is Tori has to make sure she does not twist okay on this one. So a lot of times what happens is Tori turns to her left, I guess it is, and pushes with her right hand and sort of twists okay backward, which makes it really hard for okay to maintain this balanced posture with her left foot on the ground. As soon as you twist, her left foot will come up in the air. After you come out of this here, go back here, kind of regular speed here, step ahead,
your first step,
and just push her straight backwards in the direction of, so her, basically she's still square, her body is still square but arched back, as opposed to twisting her to the corner.
Yeah.
And then of course step back, and that's the end of that one.
Right.
Okay, so Mune was the only one that's close range. After that, we're kind of at the normal distance apart. For Tsukiage, just maintain posture if you're okay. As your hand goes back, keep posture, vertical posture here. You can see the hands are flared open at this point. But as you bring it in, it becomes the fist. And similar to everything else that's attacking, watch your lead foot. There, the right foot of okay, stepping ahead. And again, the target could be the jaw. So then Tori can basically put her hand right by her jaw, because that's where the target will be, and catch the fist, the back of the hand. Okay, once you do that, then you rotate her around so your left hand will control okay's elbow. And then as it rotates, then Tori will step forward with her left foot. Okay. And as okay comes around, this is where Tori will step back with that same foot and pull it in. So there, at that point, there was that switch of hand. Tori's hand. Left hand goes palm up and then turns to palm forward and steps forward, left foot, right foot. And this is a shoulder lock, not a udegarami type of thing.
Okay.
So there's no hand up by the wrist area like you're doing an elbow lock here. The Tori's left hand here, okay, it'll be around the elbow there. It's around the elbow right there. Okay, then Tori's right hand will go over and under.
Yeah.
But still around the shoulder area. As you can see, there's nothing around the wrist area here by Tori. And then the pressure, again, without a twist, just take it back. Yeah. It's pretty tight lock if you get. And then, of course, you have to hold okay up. So Tori has to have good tight control. Okay, for Uchiroshi, further distance, of course, similar to the Kiriroshi. So further distance, go around with the open up the hands at the top, open up the hands as it comes up the middle, make the fist, full extension of the arm, and then stepping in like before, pointing the toe in the right direction, aiming the hand to the top of the head, and then Tori, similar to before, moving in and then moving ahead. Like, if that's what you mean, like the knuckles are pointing ahead. We're doing a backhand hit. You can see the fist is actually pointing downward. The back of the hand is pointing downward. And then similar to before, it's sweep around, Kazushi. Again, nice eye contact here. And Kazushi demonstrated there. And of course, this time you go over and step around. 1, 2, clinch, and Hadakajime. So your wrist is right on the throat of okay. And I would say always think about ear to ear, like have your head close to Tori's head and close to okay's head. Again, this is not an arm bar, so you should be more behind. behind. Okay. Tap, release by stepping forward, and then face to face. For Roga and Tsuki, just again, make sure you're aiming for the targets and force your partner to do a real Taisabaki for a reason. So fingers should be separated here. Your fourth and third or whatever fingers those are. You're pointing toward the eyes. Taisabaki here and demonstration of little Kazushi there, forcing your partner to step forward to get balance and to break that wrist grip. So step forward, break, tight rotation here. Again, once they rotate, they get eye contact right away. And then there'll be a continual action of now Tori stepping into it. Control, stepping, breaking to break the grip, sweep the arm around. And like before, sweep Tori's arms around the arm and around the hip. Pull it in, stick the hip out for Ogoshi, and do the lift. In this case, a banana lift here. And let the person back down. One of the tricks or okay's thing is you always make sure that your feet are together until the very last moment before you hit the ground, rather than reaching for the ground. You gotta keep it together there. And then return to your fix-up spot, which is 1 meter ahead of the tape. Take one step back behind the tape. And in this case, looks like she's slightly on the tape, so that would be a small deduction there. But again, good posture, good form, and mirror image of each other there in the bows. Heels are always together, so the pie-shaped feet there. And hands, again, formal to the side, comes fully to the front. Make sure that those don't go below the knee, always above the knee there. And you can see how formal the hands are there. And then when she straightens up, then the hands will go to the side. And in this case, this is a 10 by 10 area, so they would take about 3 steps back. If it's an 8 by 8, which is a normal area for us in Canada, then you'd only take 2 steps back to get to the outside edge of the contest area. They take 3 back. When you're on the outside of the contest area, you will be taking a step forward with your left foot and then right foot and then square. So each step will only take a step size of about half a meter. And try to make it even. So sometimes people take a big first step and then the small second one to end up at the tape. Try to take the equals step size of steps. So as you can see here, just assume that this is being played reverse. 1, 2, 3. That would have been the same moving forward. In this case, again, they're 10 by 10, so they would have to take 3 steps. But on our 8 by 8 area, take 2 steps. Okay. So again, when you're moving ahead, you should be able to do this without looking down at the tape, even though you're looking at the bottom of your eyes to see the tape. That was the end of the bow in there.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And that's the end of the kata.
Yes.